Twitter handle is NIDevCon17, so if you feel like sharing with the world what we're doing today, that would be awesome, really appreciate it. Next up we have Gary Robinson, who's going to take us through everything that's wrong with security teams.
Thank you very much. So to start off, one thing I do is usually pretend, I usually walk around here, that's the mics are pointed at us so we can't move around too much, so if I end up going down there, just shout and tell me to move back into the camera. Everything from security teams chose that because usually security teams are given out by developers. If you've ever worked in a development security team, it's usually, I can't believe the devs are so bad, I can't believe they haven't bothered with this bit. We've given them a security standard and they haven't followed it. So this is all we turn the tables on them and say, you know what, security is pretty bad shape right now in the world, and part of the problem is actually security teams. So that's what we're going to cover, but turn the tables on them. Then we're going to just emphasize a wee bit with what the security teams have to deal with, and then we're going to see ways of trying to make the world better. So who the hell am I? My name's Gary Robinson. I've been a developer in and around Belfast for over 15 years, actually 18 years for various things. Worked in OpenWave for 12 years, Latents for a bit, loved C++, all that, design patterns, all that sort of stuff, Java, Python, C#, all that. And then, around about 2002, 2003, our company got a pen test and I fell in love with the fact that they were able to break into ways and be able to log in without using a password. I loved all that stuff. And so, if you had a graph, like a previous speaker or something about, the graph would be me tailing off more into the security world and keeping the coding up, but not as much. Then moved to be a security architect in Citigroup. That was fun. That was scalability. That is 10,000 applications. That is trying to have 15 or 30 different security standards and policies and regulations tied into code. That was a really good experience. I then left there just to start my own company called Geneska, which is all about security consultants and building products in and around security. And I'm also a European board member of something called OWASP. Anybody's heard of OWASP? Okay, that's not too bad. It's good. Sometimes it's not as well known. That's actually brilliant. Now, as you may have heard, we had a conference, OWASP AppSec, a few weeks ago. And very interestingly, we had 700 people that we thought were going to turn up, so we ordered 700 of everything. We had 730 people turn up, and we still had stuff left. So I don't really know how it works. But the good thing is I've got merch then to throw out to anybody who answers the questions I'm going to ask. So I'm going to throw out the t-shirts, not the heavier stuff, just in case you worry. So Geneska, that's our company. We're not so much concentrating on security, it's proactive security. It used to be 5-10 years ago everybody was saying, we've got to do a security thing. Now everybody's saying we've got to do this proactive security stuff, and that's what I've been working with the last 6-7 years, so the time is coming for that. So, what we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach, which is the way he wants it. Who knows what song that was sampled in?
Song was sampled. I thought you were going to ask what movie was
sampled. Okay, what movie was sampled in?
Cool Hand Luke.
Ah, there you go. Very good.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, who said that? There you go. Can you not have been here? Oh, there you go. Very good. Now, I thought for a long time it was Vanishing Point. I think it must be an example of the Cool Hand Luke in Vanishing Point. But what we got to the failure to communicate. Essentially, a lot of software teams, a lot of security teams tend not to communicate. Now, I've always found that a hard thing to do because I was a developer who moved into security. So unless I've got bipolar disorder, I'm pretty much able to communicate with myself absolutely fine. But especially if you move into companies that have an external pen testing team and into external security teams, or big enterprises where you have massive developers and then massive security teams, the communication can be very bad, and that actually causes a lot of the problem. So we're going to talk about a few of the security issues and enumerate some of them with that security teams do wrong when trying to work with the development teams. Number one is their inability to realize the actual severity of a security issue. So it happens more with sometimes the junior people, but they do a scan or they do something and they find an SQL issue. SQL injection. And they go, look, SQL injection. Listen to me, SQL injection. Hello, SQL injection. But they haven't a clue how to exploit it. And it could be an SQL injection that actually leads to nothing. Sometimes the analogy I use is, it's like going out in the country and seeing a building that has a small open window. Now that's a vulnerability. If that's a building that's been deserted and nobody cares about you walking through the front door, who cares? If it's a bank and it's an open window, still it might be a bit of an issue. But if they've got the sort of like laser scanners and they've got the vault unlocked, again, it's not much of an issue. If it's a bank and they don't have any laser scanners and the safe is lying open, then that's a bit of an issue. Now, I have a family member on my wife's side who used to work in a bank, and I kid you not, left the keys in the safe. I didn't think that was possible. And I wouldn't have believed her until she got into serious trouble. So that sort of stuff can't happen in the real world. So it's more about the abilities. Whenever they're finding an issue, they have to understand the business sense. What is the business risk of this? At the end of the day, security is all about securing assets to the business to make sure the business doesn't go out of business. Now, if you spend £1 million protecting the chocolate bar, that doesn't make sense. If you spend 35p protecting the chocolate bar, then you're probably on about evens. I like to be sometimes I like to be more agile, and that's actually from the sessions we have here, the information. Has anybody noticed the images they have for the different talks? There's data and AI is a circle, lead product skills is a diamond, security is a red X. How subliminal is that? Security says no. I think that's very funny. Actually, I asked the guys who organized it, and they said, oh, we just chose them random. Yeah, we're the only red X, I don't get it. But yeah, usually we're trying to say no because we always just stop people doing stuff. That's a bad way to work, and we'll talk about that a bit more later on. One interesting thing, that angle. Anybody heard of CVSS? Anybody know what it stands for?
Common vulnerability scoring system.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
By the way, my t-shirt doesn't fit, so there's other ones up here. So that's the way, it's a common sort of de facto standard for describing how bad a vulnerability is. So you find the SQL injection, but how bad is it? What can you do with it? Interestingly, in blue is the parts of this vulnerability standard that are related to the vulnerability, a SQL injection. The other stuff in red or pink is actually related to the business side. So you can't determine how bad something is without understanding how that vulnerability is applied. And that's something security teams usually forget. Usually it's, we find something bad, away you go. Try and fix those 500 SQL injections we found. No, let's fix the 4 that are very important and leave the other ones till later on. Number 2, button pushers. Should I even throw it? Okay. Anybody know who that is? Sometimes, and I don't mean any offense to anybody who is in security here, but this can happen in the industry, is that a lot of the pen testers or security people maybe aren't that well experienced, don't have that much, but they know how to use the tool, they know how to push a button. I remember we didn't hire him, we were going to hire somebody one time, we were doing an interview for somebody who was a senior pen tester at a well-known telecoms company. And we asked him what an SQL injection was, and he couldn't answer it. We asked him what cross-site scripting was, and he couldn't answer it. And we said, but you're a senior pen tester. He says, yes, I pressed the button, and I'm the person who gives the report to the other teams. So all he was doing was pressing the button. How is that person supposed to be able to advise you on how to fix the issue? Because you, at that point, what you want is, oh, if we find an issue bad with this, how do we fix it? It's like going to a doctor and them saying, oh, you've got an ear infection or you've got a cold or whatever we got there, and then not giving you any tablets, not giving you any advice, maybe giving you a Google link or giving you a pestle and mortar and some things to make your own medicine. You would never put up with that. What you want is the ability to actually try and fix it. And security teams are supposed to be the experts at doing that. We have certifications inside security. They are like any other industry. I'm a certified information security professional when I got there. Did that because I liked it, not because I really wanted to have a certification. Some people in the industry are brilliant without certifications. Some people actually have to have it. In OWASP, there's another organization I'm in, they actually wanted to create a application security specialist certification, or AS for short, because they don't like certifications, so they wanted to do that for a joke. Some of the reasons why people do this here is because the automated tools, you just press a button on, that gives you something back in half an hour, and that's a lot faster. Unfortunately, there's loads of false positives. I've used professional tools which Gartner say are the best, and it can give you 600 issues, of which realistically 4 are only really, a bit of an issue, and the other 596 I have to go through and discount, which takes me longer than actually doing the pen test in the first place. Lack of software development background. This is one of the major issues I think software security teams don't have. They're not programmers. And even if they have a bit of coding, they don't know the full intricacies of actually working in an SDLC and the whole things about the many different talks we've had so far, the intricacies of developing software. They might have done a bit of, I remember talking to somebody before and they said, oh well, I am a coder. I said, what do you code in? It's like HTML and CSS. Okay, thanks, okay. So that inability to be able to identify and work with the development organization is another hindrance. And that's some of the reasons why some teams want to throw it over the wall back to you. Oh, we find an SQL, a cross-site scripting issue. You go and fix it, because I personally don't know how to. So we need to integrate that more going forward. This is a guy called Gary McGraw. He's the CTO of a company over in the US called Cigital. They're now Synopsys because they multiply a lot of things. He's on record, he's very well known, does a lot of podcasts in the area, and he goes on record a lot of times saying the best security people he knows in the industry, and he's worked with lots of them, came from a development background. Number 4, tick box. Maybe my biggest issue with all security is the tick box scenario, where let's develop the software, however many sprints you want to do, or a waterfall 6-month project, and then at the end we're going to try and tick the boxes and say, oh, this is now secure. That doesn't help people as they're developing the software, it delays things. I have seen projects take 6 months to do development, take 8 months to go through the pen test. Now you can't work with that there. How do you schedule? The psychology of proactive, I love this, I showed this to my kids and they really liked it. My 5-year-old was like, that's reasonable, Bob's a decent name for a square. So one analogy I found with this here is, my daughter is 9, she's going through the 11 plus or transfer test, whatever you call it now. Anytime I got home late, as sometimes happens when you're running your own business, and I tried to help her with her homework, we didn't get on that well. And she was always annoyed, and I thought, well, she's just tired, it's 9 o'clock, she should be in bed. And anytime we got home earlier, it was always a better relationship, you actually looked forward to doing the homework with her. Then what we realised was, whenever I came home late, I was marking her homework. She had already done it, she'd already been invested, she'd already said, this is great, you know, I've got all these questions right, and I was the guy coming along and saying, no, you got that wrong, you know, this is bad. Anytime I was there helping her with it, it was always a better scenario. You were there saying, now, by name, do you not think they mean the name of the parallelogram or whatever it is, rather than give the thing a name? Oh, right, that's great. But she's then put down the right answer. At the end of it, she's invested and she's got all the right answers, and it's a lot better scenario. Now, I'm a developer, so I'm not comparing developers to a 9-year-old. But sitting with developers, helping proactively put the security in as you're developing it, coming along at the start and saying, well, maybe instead of using HTTP, let's use HTTPS. Maybe instead of taking that trade over an email, we'll take trades over a secured, authenticated interface. I'm not kidding. So that helps, and it also makes things a lot faster. Stuart Aston from Microsoft, we were talking to him last week. Now, Microsoft know this sort of things. They determine a 3-to-1 saving on doing proactive security rather than leaving everything to the end. So there's a financial aspect to doing that as well. Okay, another t-shirt moment. Anybody know, I'm going to say who John Stuart Bell is. John Bell, what is he famous for doing? What area is he famous in?
Physics, quantum.
Very good. Can somebody close, please answer the question? Oh, sorry. So, John Bell from Belfast. This is in reference actually to the keynote talk where they're talking about Kelvin being from here. I don't know if there's a building now named after John Bell. I don't know if there's any statues. But he pretty much back in the day started something called Bell's Theorem and did a lot of research there. Why am I mentioning it? Yep.
Bell's Theorem Crescent runs around the Met building over in the center.
Very good. Thank you very much. Is there any statues of him?
I don't know, there should be.
Not yet.
There's a small plaque on the physics building, that's it.
Okay, there you go. So, why am I mentioning him? Because that's proactive, you're at the proactive bit, Gary. Why are you mentioning Bell's Theorem? The software industry, especially in terms of encryption, are bricking it because of quantum cryptography. If you get a so you use AES 256, whatever sort of algorithm you want, you say, well, I'm sending stuff across the public network, but it's fine because it's encrypted, and they can't, you know, it'll take thousands of years, millions of years to break that encryption. Some algorithms are defended against quantum cryptography, some are easy to crack, as in seconds, minutes. So what a lot of the software and especially the financial industry are realizing, they have to change all their algorithms in their organizations to be quantum protected algorithms. Now, if you're a new software organization building new software, it's just a matter of saying, right now, right, I'm going to change to that. That's no problem, I'll use this algorithm call instead of that algorithm call. If you're a bank with 10, 20, 30,000 applications, it's going to take you 10 years to do that. And even better still, the stuff you're sending across now, if the NSA or whoever is sucking that in 10 years time, they can just decrypt that and know what you were doing. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. So, proactively putting things in like quantum cryptography protection is something people are thinking about doing, forward thinking. Number 5 is security not being agile. Another big problem. You can't fit a 4-week penetration test into something that's releasing every day. Can't be done. If you're doing continuous integration, continuous development, if you're releasing 3 or 4 times a day, how do you fit security into that? And that's why security needs to be broken down. We need to mix security and dev a bit more to be able to achieve this. And that's a big problem we're having in the industry. So this is more of a vendor issue rather than a security team issue. Anybody see this? That was taken down around about the same time as WannaCry. It's even, and apparently it's taken off the way back machine. I didn't even know you could do that. But security vendors constantly go around and say they can do everything. And that's another problem for them software teams or security teams. Because they're given by management, by their CTO, by their CISO, some tool. They say, well, we don't need you to do that because we know this tool's going to do it. No, it's not. And so what happens is the management team and security say, well, you can now 4 days to do the penetration test because you've got all these tools and they're great. And it doesn't actually work out that way. And another thing that the tools do is the tools come back and, as I say, give you a bit of information about how to analyze the issue. Don't give you enough. I have seen some very professional tools give me back information. Now, I'm a developer 18 years. I'm a European board member of this OWASP organization. I can understand what the hell the outputs were. How are you supposed to give that to a 20-year-old developer who's just started? That's just not fair. They have that tooling and that type of sales exercise has to improve greatly. So that's the problems with security, and that's some things we have to try and change. We'll talk about how to change that soon, but let's have some considerations for what they have to do. They are the last bastion of protection for these companies. And who all heard of GDPR? Of the people who are sick of hearing GDPR? So GDPR is a European directive coming out. It basically is going to fine you 20 million euros or 4% of your annual turnover for any security flaws, mostly in terms of protection, PII. They haven't absolutely defined yet what the regulation is going to be, but it's coming in force in May next year. And security teams are being told, you've got to be protecting us. In fact, I've seen vendors with signs saying, we are GDPR compliant. No, you're not. Nobody is. Nobody knows what it is. So the security teams are just being told to fix this, and this is very hard for them. It's very hard for them to actually apply all the many security things to their products. We have things like the OWASP top 10. There's 10 easy issues. SANS top 25, 25 issues. Anybody heard of the OWASP ASVS? No, not many people have. It's got about 256 type of security issues. Meter over in the USA define 1,004 separate security types of issues. How the heck is a small team supposed to do that for a large organization for all those issues? That's very hard. And that's another reason developers have a hard time putting them in. And the problem is then, what do you secure? And I know this from being inside the security teams. Okay, it's probably maybe the last t-shirt to send out. Anybody read the Phoenix Project? Okay. Anybody remember the name of the security guy in the Phoenix Project?
John?
Yes?
What is it?
Oh, you got a t-shirt?
Alright.
All right. Okay, nominate somebody else. Okay, all right. All right. So there in the Phoenix Project, it's a talk about DevOps. It's a sort of novel about DevOps. And Bill's the protagonist. He's the best guy. John, the security guy. Nobody likes him. Nobody invites him to meetings. And he ends up like becoming an alcoholic and nearly dying or something like that there. And they're all like, oh, I hope John's okay. They're not worrying, oh, I hope that I can get my security done. It's hilarious. But think about it. Put yourself on the other side of the fence here, saying you're a security guy and you are maybe coming into a company you don't know. I do that sometimes. Or you're coming into a project you don't do. Or no, I do that sometimes. And you're being told you have 4 weeks and you're the last bastion to secure this. Now, doing that's quite hard whenever you don't have a bloody clue what the application does. And you ask the application team, because hands up who here thinks the documentation is complete. So you go to the development team and say, what is it? And they go, oh, I don't know. It puts stuff in and it punts numbers out. Happens all the time. So the problem is you have to know what to secure. Agile is great. I love Agile. And God forbid I want to walk out here on my kneecaps. But there are issues with Agile when it comes to security, specifically these things. Lack of comprehensive documentation and contract negotiation. I have talked to people who say they love Agile because they don't need a document. That's great. How do I secure it? What do I know to secure? What are the interfaces? What are the data types? Who are the users? I've had pen tests where the team said we don't want to put all the different roles, not even users, roles down because there's over 1,000 of them. 1,000 roles? How many tests do I need to write, security tests do I need to write to cover that? And contract negotiation is a big issue also in the actual industry, because if you're outsourcing software to somebody else, what typically happens, and I've seen this, is, oh, just make it secure. What does that mean? They come back and give you software, and then it gets hacked, and then there are negotiations and arguments and legal battles about who the actual problem is with, the contractor or the people who ordered it. There's actually a great blog on just called Just Sue the Idiots, because it talks about that sort of issue, and that's about 10 years old. So I've had that for a while. Again, being agile, and talking back to the keynote talk, chaos and being in education, chaos is great. Chaos typically isn't very well documented. It's not something that would be in the definition, the dictionary definition of chaos. So for the poor security guy being told to be the last bastion, or girl, and to make sure this is secure, it's very hard to do whenever you don't know what security is. So what can we do about this? And that's not a question I'm going to throw a t-shirt for, because we're going to try and walk through this here. We can be friends. Now, whether it's yourself, talking to yourself and trying to realize the security side of yourself, the development side of yourself, whether it's development teams talking to security teams that are external, or talking to the internal security teams, more communication can always be good. DevSecOps is a great wee initiative started by somebody who was a keynote speaker actually at our conference, a girl called Shannon Netz, who's not actually Irish but has Irish grandfather, I think. Brilliant idea about basically doing security earlier, making sure the devs, the secs, and the ops people are all talking together and they're together every day. Brilliant idea. She is one of the few people in the world who has, so you know about security people, there's loads of jobs, there's like 1.8 million open recs, I think, something like that there. She has a queue of people trying to join her team because she's so agile and so good at doing all the security stuff as a real world leader. I mentioned we'd come back to this guy, Gary McGraw. What they have is something called BSIM, Build Security In Maturity Model. Look it up, it's quite good. Now it's more of a survey thing rather than a proactive, descriptive thing of what you need to do. But it talks about, you see there, 104 of the biggest companies in the world, how they do security, what versions of it's right, what versions is wrong. So they're actually taking the evidence, it's actually real data-based. A couple of interesting things here. 1 to 75 is the average ratio of the SSG, Software Security Group, to developers. So you have one security guy to every 75 developers, and that's the average. That's quite hard to do. And say 13.9, so 14 is the average that size of a security group inside an organization that gets here. One of the more interesting ones then, 100% of the companies that do best on these type of surveys have what's called satellites. Now, satellites are people who are not in a security organization, the security testing team, the security training team, whatever. They are developers, they are testers, who maybe have a stretch objectives. Learn a bit about security. Don't be a security expert, but learn a bit about security. Get yourself ramped up. And then we have agents, we have people who are interested in security in the development teams, doing things like secure code review, doing things like secure design, saying, how do we try and break this here whenever we're doing the design document for this? Secure requirements. Also doing a bit of simple security testing inside the testing organization. 100% of the organizations that have these here score best, and 0 of the ones who don't score the lowest. So it's proven to work in the industry. And it's also something people that, like testers and developers, love. There's loads of actual jobs now in Belfast for in and around security. So it's a great wee sort of bullet point to get on your CV and say, I have certain certification or I have certain skills inside security. It helps everybody, helps the organization, and helps the developers. Feedback loops, very, very important. Anybody here, so let me ask this general question. Anybody here working in an organization or a team that has had their software pen tested? Okay, so a good decent number. That pen test information and the security testing information, and especially what field, is actually great information to feed back into your software security, into your software teams. If you, and we did this inside Citigroup and it worked very well. You can't overload it. So you can't say, we failed in these 50 things, all developers have to go off and read this 50-page document and then you're allowed to code. We chose an issue of the month. So we took the already existing newsletters that the developers had, that the testers had, and we took the major issue we were seeing in our own software. And we said, well, we're failing miserably on cross-site scripting. So let's make sure we get a coffee morning or a brown bag session or whatever into our standard. Make sure our secure coding standards. I had to work on a secure coding standard within Citigroup, which maybe I'm not supposed to mention, so that's not. Oops. But anyway, so we put that, so made sure that the coding standards had that type of thing covered. It's ways of making sure the top issues you are having is getting fed back into development groups, so the coders are all automatically looking for it. They're automatically doing it in their coding, they're automatically looking for the code review documents, code review exercises, and it's a great way of making sure you're securing yourself. And integrate security into the SDLC. Now, I was going to enhance this slide and put in security requirements, pen testing, threat modeling, which is a way of doing security during the design. But I wanted to leave it at that and say, in theory, we want to just keep the security SDLC as it is, but weave security into it. If you start putting big gates in, especially in a very agile organization, you're going to get pushed back in terms of security. But if you manage to weave very slowly, wee bits of security in here and there, and again, maybe using that feedback loop to say, cross-site scripting is our biggest issue, let's weave cross-site scripting protections into when we're thinking about requirements and make sure we think about it when we're doing our designs, etc. That's a very effective way of making sure that the security team then are involved very early. They're not marking the homework, they're involved in making sure the software is developed securely. So whenever you get to the end, and you'll still have to do a pen test, because the only way that a company can know their software is secure is unfortunately right now a pen test. Uleska is working on that, but give us a few years or give us time to do that there. Anybody here work in so who here works in an enterprise company? So you guys are used to the whole security annoyance thing. Who here works for a smaller, maybe startup or a medium-sized organization that wants to sell into enterprise companies? Okay, so you guys are going to be faced with a situation of the smaller guys, or whenever you manage to get the seal, and they buy your widget and they're like, yes, we've got the seal, and then the big enterprise company comes back and says, here's the security bit. And you go, oh shit, I haven't got any of that. You're going to have to deal with it then. It's 3-to-1 saving to do it earlier. It's so much easier. And it also means you don't have to waste months. Now, the Chef survey earlier on in this year, I think, or maybe the end of last year, said 25% of even the most agile software companies, of which some of us may work for and some of us may not, 25% of even the most agile software companies still take weeks and months to fix security issues after the security test. So you're agile, your sprints are 2-3 weeks, and you're taking months still to fix security issues that were there. That's a hard thing to do. So it's really about weaving it in here as much as you can, even if people don't notice. Because at the end of the day, a security bug is just a bug. It's just an issue. Just like whenever you click on a different screen, they cross out the CSS not making some button green, or it's just like something running a bit slower. The problem with these is, one of these security issues can cost you a heck of a amount of information. TalkTalk, hands up, well, we're not demonised here, but hands up who think TalkTalk's very secure. I'm going to say I actually think they are. Now, why is my evidence for that? TalkTalk have had 2 major issues, but that's only 2 bugs. They had the SQL injection issue, which was fair enough, maybe simple enough to find, but it happens. And they had something to do with some of the routers, which is maybe a third-party issue. But they've only had 2 security issues. So let's think of that in development terms. They've only had 2 bugs. Hands up here who's working in an organisation who even in any release has had 2 bugs or less. I haven't. So we've got to be, we've got to be more kind to those sort of people. That is the end of my talk. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much to the people here for organising this conference. I personally love conferences, so I'm really enjoying to be able to talk at this here. So thanks very much for doing that there. Is there any questions? Is that your way of saying no questions?
No. Making sure you got enough.
Yes, you had a question?
In your opinion, what's the most prevalent security issue? Like, do you see for overruns more, SQL injection more? Or what's the worst issue? Or what's the most common issue? Would you say?
Good question, very good question. Buffer overruns not so much because things like Java and C# are taking care of that there. I don't have that much as an issue. SQL injection is one of the biggest things we see in the OWASP side. SQL injection has been known since 98, 97. All the libraries you have to connect to a database have parameterized queries or have protected, I can't remember the other term, parameterized queries. Ways to make sure you don't do it, but still, we run into that a lot. It's one of the if you look at the OWASP page, and everybody knows OWASP has free documents, free guides, free wikis, free tools. I'm actually about to release the code review guide, which was kindly sponsored by the Department of Homeland Security over the US. We're about to release that next week, I think, and that's 200 pages of free information about how to code review for security. But SQL is still one of the highest seen pages in our thing, and it's still something I see quite a lot. That and authorization. The simple ability, it sounds mad, but the simple ability to log into somebody and then type in a URL of another page you know exists on the website and get logged in, that happens far too much. But that's the type of thing we see. But generally, the biggest issue, not being technical, is the tick box culture of, oh, let's just do compliance. That doesn't work. We have to do it earlier, and that's a different mindset. So I find that the biggest overall issue. Any other questions? Yes?
Would it be more beneficial to do a master's degree in cybersecurity, for example, for Queen's, or self-learn?
How do I answer that when I'm standing in Queen's? That's the
That answers the question.
So Queen's has an MSc. I work a lot with CSIT, which is the UK Centre for Information Security Technologies up at Titanic Quarter. They're very, very good, brilliant, so I definitely think that's a good way of getting into it. I personally taught all the security stuff because I was just interested in it. There's loads of podcasts, there's loads of free stuff out there. I think if you could learn everything yourself. A master's degree with the cost and the time, I wouldn't want that putting somebody off, rather than just saying, I'm going to download the code review guide and just read through that and get the best in. And the best thing with that is it's piecemeal. You just read the stuff you're interested in. There's no point in me learning C# security for cross-site scripting or CSRF if I'm working in Java. So I find downloading stuff's good. But if you're definitely that sort of age group and you want to do a master's, MSc would lead you into a job 100%, or it should. This is okay. Thanks very much. If anybody has any questions, give me a shout in the hallway. I'll be around. Thank you.
I was calling